Money. It's our main source of living. Everyone wants it, everyone needs it, everyone has to have it. So I know what you're probably thinking. How do I get money? 3 easy words. Get a job. I know what your next question probably is. How do I get a job? This is where I come into the picture. I'm going to provide you with some tips and hints on setting up your resume, networking, and preparing for an interview. Now I know you're probably thinking, what does she know about getting hired? This is why I did some research as a way to support the information that I'm going to provide to you. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that they know how to create their own resume, network, and prepare for an interview. But every little bit of information helps, and that's all that I want to provide to you today. I just want to provide you with the tools necessary to build a good resume, network, and prepare for an interview. Creating a good resume is not as difficult as it may seem. Martin Yates, author of the book Knock 'em Dead 2001, makes some good points on ways to build your resume. Yates proclaims that a resume should be short, easy to read, and understanding. When creating your resume, certain information should be provided, such as your personal information, your skills, your accomplishments, education, and your work experience. A point that I want to add is also when providing your personal information, you don't want to use an email that says hotbabymama@yahoo.com. It's not a good email that you want to provide to a future employer. It doesn't look professional. So I would suggest that you create an email account where it has your first and last name @yahoo.com. After creating your resume, your next step that you're going to take is network. Kate Wendleton, author of the book Getting Interviews, explains how putting yourself out there to future employers is a good way for you to introduce yourself to them. Introducing yourself to different companies and hiring managers is a great way for them to know something about you and a great way for you to know something about the company, such as your skills and what you can provide to the company. After you've done network and you get a phone call on doing a face-to-face interview, your next question is, what do I do when preparing for the interview? Robin Ryan, author of the book 60 Seconds and You're Hired, brings to light some pitfalls that happens all the time when doing an interview. And he also provides ways to avoid that. I'm going to first mention some of the pitfalls that he talks about in his book. And then I'm going to go back and discuss ways to avoid those pitfalls. Being late to an interview doesn't look good to a future employer. If the employer sees that you're showing up late to the interview, he or she is probably going to think that you're going to show up late to the job. So you don't want to do that. Inappropriate attire. This is a visual aid of what not to wear when going to an interview. I'm wearing a windbreaker outfit and flip-flops. You don't want to wear this to an interview because it doesn't look professional. Or if you wear a sweatsuit or jeans and a t-shirt. That doesn't look good either to an employer. Fail to inspire confidence. Ryan professes how being meek, quiet, and humble will give the impression to the employer that you do not have any confidence in yourself or any confidence in the work. So the employer is then probably going to think that you can't do the job. Lengthy answers and saying or like. You never want to answer any questions with these words. They don't sound intelligent, and it's an easy way for you to lose your train of thought. Ryan points out how an interviewer's attention span will fade quickly, so boring them to death with lengthy answers will not help your situation, it will hinder your situation. Now that I've mentioned some of the pitfalls that happen during an interview, I'm going to now demonstrate, or now I'm going to mention how to avoid these pitfalls. Being late to work, or being late for the interview. You want to get the exact location of where the interview is going to be held. So this way, you can get on Google or MapQuest and get directions. So that way, you can take a drive out there a couple of days before the actual interview, take a drive out to the location, and that way you can calculate your time and how much you need to prepare on getting there with enough time in spare. So you want to make sure that you get there within 15 minutes before your actual interview time. Rule of thumb that everybody should know and abide by is if you're early, you're on time. And if you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, you might as well not show up for the interview at all. Inappropriate attire. Like I stated before, what I'm wearing, a windbreaker suit and flip-flops, is not a good attire to wear to the interview. Ryan recommends that men should wear business suits, a white shirt, and a nice conservative tie. For women, they should wear a business suit or a pencil skirt. And that is my next demonstration. Women should be wearing at least a pencil skirt and nice business attire. That way it shows to the employer how professional you look and that you mean business when going for the interview. Also, another point that I want to make to the women, you don't want to wear stilettos, because if you're not going to be comfortable, then you're not going to be conducting a good interview. So I would suggest that you wear nice, sensible shoes. This way, it looks good to the employer, keeps it professional, and you're also comfortable as well. Fail to inspire confidence. You want to let the employer know that he or she is looking at the right person for the job. Yates recommends we maintain eye contact. We give a smile and show some enthusiasm in our voice. This way, it is a good cover-up for the nervousness that you may feel inside when doing the interview. Like Yates said, nonverbal communication is just as important, if not more important, than verbal communication. Lengthy answers and saying or like. Ryan advises the best approach to take when answering a question is to keep the conversation moving by answering the questions in less than 60 seconds. My advice that I would advise for everyone to use is that they would get a friend or a family member and do a practice interview. This way, when the interview is complete, the friend or family member will then suggest or make out any mistakes that the person made while conducting the interview. So this way, when they go to the actual interview, they'll be prepared and ready to knock them dead. Now that I provided you with some tips and hints on how to create a good resume, knowing how to network yourself, and preparing for an interview, I hope you will take this information into consideration to better your chances of getting hired. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Alicia.